Come on in. Hey, Calandra. Come on in. If y'all can tag, share. Come on in. Hey, Miss Jasmine. Come on in if y'all can tag, share. Let somebody know I'm on tonight. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Just been in a place of prayer. I hope everybody been in a place of prayer, just seeing what God needs us to do and what God wants us to do. That God give us in a place to let us know that it's no longer our will, but yet let God's will be done. And so I don't know about y'all, but God is truly a good God. God is awesome God. Um, I give God thanks and praise because He allowed me to see a day that I never saw before, and He allowed me to wake up with my health and strength. Hey, Miss Michelle, come on in. Tag somebody, let them know that we on tonight. And I haven't been talking on the phone, just been in a place of prayer. I have assignment at the end of this week. Looking forward because usually when I have assignment, I literally don't go live, but I needed to do my live on tonight. Just been looking at the timeline and seeing how many that's been in. This is the hour that we be prayed up. This is the hour, since we don't know the day or the hour that God is coming. We need to stay on a place of prayer. We need to make sure that we right in our eyesight with God. We need to make sure, that we cover our territory. We cover where we going. And so we can't just be so sure uh, about if we promise even to see the end of this day. And so many times that we take advantage of it. But this is the hour that we can't be taking advantage of it. Come on in. Hey, Mr. Gray, come on in. And a lot of times that we take advantage of things that is right before our eyes, right before our face. We take advantage because God allow us to wake up. We take advantage that we walk, and we take advantage that we're able to see. Um, we take advantage that we even have a roof over our head, because those things don't have to be. But yet, since God find favor on us, that God allow it. And so it's not the big things, it's the small things, because a lot of times, and I always say, people are waiting to give God thanks and praise for the big things, but it's the small things that we need to start giving God thanks for. Because if we only knew the unseen thing that God keep protecting us from, that God don't give us what we rightfully deserve. And so that's enough to be saying, God, know what, I thank you, God. I truly appreciate you, because you didn't give me what I rightfully deserve, God, that you didn't allow death to come and overtake me, because we just don't know where death at in this hour. And so we just have to get in a place to know that, guess what, are you covered, are you prayed up, do you have things in order, not with the world but with God? Do you have this is not the hour to be fussing and arguing your belief with nobody. You believe what you believe, and let them believe what they believe. God tell us that don't argue with a carnal-minded person, a person that don't believe. And so it's no need for you to argue, no need for you to even answer, because guess what? Right now, God is literally weighing in our spirit, because I had told the church Saturday that God is weighing. What do you weigh in the spirit? You know, we talk about God favor. We talk about the faith that we have. We talk about uh, God word, but do it weigh anything in the spirit when we say it? Because you have to realize that when you open up your mouth, it's not necessarily meaning that God gonna show up because you know how to pray. Do you have currency? Do you have things in alignment with God? So that's the kind of things that we need to start asking. Hey, Miss Levine, come on in, tag and share, let somebody know that we in. So this is the things that we need to start praying and start asking God. You know, to make sure, you know, we teach our kids how to sing, we teach our kids how to dance and drop it like it's hot, and then we laugh and everything, you know, at these things. But ask yourself, do my child know how to pray? Do my child know the word of God? Do my child even know who God is? You know, because we think they too young to be knowing all that, but yet we don't say they too young to know how to drop it like it's hot. We don't think that they too young to know how to sing this and that, and, you know, and we cheerlead this kind of things on. But it's a train up a child the way they should go, and when they get older, they will not stray away. And so you have to ask yourself, what are you training up your child in this hour? What are you training up things that you're doing in this hour? And so you got to realize that this is not the hour that we have to play. This is the hour that we got to pray. This is the hour that we got to make sure that, guess what, everything come into alignment. And so when I make sure everything come into alignment with the things of God, we got to make sure that we own it. We got to make sure that it is not about, you know, just doing it. No, we have to have meaning behind what we do. I remember growing up as a child. Hey, Miss Vera, I remember growing up as a child. I remember when my dad used to whoop us. He Before he would even whoop us, the first thing he would ask us, and we understand why we catching a whooping. And then we would say, yeah, we understand. Then he would ask another question, well, why are you getting whipped? And so we would have to answer that question to understand what was the chastisement on us. And so many times that we don't understand why we going through what we going through. But the truth of the matter is, we understand it. Everybody else might not understand it, because sometimes what we don't realize, the things that we go through is self-inflicted. Sometimes we don't realize the things that we go through, guess what, is the words that came out of our mouth. Because what we don't do, we don't go back and pull down things. Because that's why when you're in a part to where you mad or you upset or you angry, that's not the time to start verbalizing how you feel. That's not the time to start going off or saying this or saying that. No, this is the hour that, guess what, you sometimes have to just be quiet. Sometimes you just can't say nothing. And it's something how we'll be to the place so where we see everybody else fault. We'll see what everybody else not doing. But yet God wants you to see, what is your reflection looking like? What do you look like in the spirit? And so I don't ever want to lose myself by always looking at somebody else. And so today was a day of evaluation for me. Today was a day that I literally never really talked on the phone. I just stayed in a place of prayer, because like I said, I always get in a place to be downloaded in when I'm on assignment. And so this is the day that I came on to ask you, what is your issue? You know, a lot of times that we go through things, come on, Miss Jasmine, and that's something that we don't know how to do. We don't know how to hold our tongue, because we fast to pop off, because we always want to express ourselves, or we gonna show them, we gonna tell them, I'm not gonna stand here and let nobody talk to me in any kind of way or whatever. But yet we don't never take the time out to realize, how do you talk to people? You know, how do you respond to others? And a lot of times that we don't want to hear what somebody else said, because literally we hearing a reflection of ourselves. And so this is the hour we got to make sure that when we talking, when I say something, I have to make sure that it's weighing something inside the spiritual realm. I got to make sure when I say something that it might not always be what you want to hear, but it's going to be substance to what you need to hear. And so this is the hour we can't just get to the place so nobody, I don't want to hear nothing, nobody can tell me nothing. And that's the wrong attitude to have, because guess what, you have to get to the place to know that, do you have a sealed conscience? Because God said the last days that he's going to send a spirit of illusion. And not only that, that's when you're going to believe a lie, but also your conscience is going to be sealed. That means nothing can come in and nothing can come out. And so when I was praying today, and I told my hubby, I said, "You know what? I'm gonna do my live tonight." I say, and the thing that came to me, God said, "What is your issue?" And so a lot of times that we don't look at our issue. Do you even have an issue? And sometimes we don't think that we have an issue. We just looking at how somebody hurt us, or what we went through. So we just put our situation on what somebody else did to us, and so that's why we in a position we in, or that's why we like we are. We're not realizing that maybe, just maybe, it was words that we said, something that we spoke inside the spiritual realm that caused my situation to be like this. Maybe it was something self-inflicted, and that's something that we don't never be held accountable for. We don't never be held accountable for the things that we did or the things that we said. We always saying, "Oh, they praying against us," or they feel like they got to judge me and this and that. But we don't never take time out to see, guess what? Am I in error with God? Because a lot of times that we don't never see that we in error with God. We just feel like, oh well, somebody did me something, so that's why I'm like this, and the devil is a lie. No, the devil is not a lie. The devil is not even paying attention to you. Do you ever think about, well, maybe it's something that I said or did that's causing me to go through this? Maybe I'm in direct rebellion with the things of God, and so that's maybe why I'm going through that. And so that's why the question tonight is, what is your issue? And if you want to know anything about the issue, I'm not here to preach to you tonight. I'm just here to teach to you tonight, because that's what God want to know. What is your issue? A lot of times that we don't want to face our issue. A lot of times we don't want to face our own problems. We don't want to. It's better that I'm able to blame somebody else. I don't want nobody else to see what I'm going through. I don't want to be held accountable, because I never did nothing to nobody, but everybody else is doing something to me. And a lot of times we just don't want to be held accountable. But this is the hour that God want to know, what is your issue. You ever had somebody that got mad with you or upset with you, and they telling you all kind of stuff, and then the thing that you ask is, what is your issue? What's your problem that you have with me? And so that's what God want to know. What is your problem that you have? What's really going on spiritually? And that's the thing that we don't take time out to see what is really going on with us spiritually. And so as I look back at when we talked about the issue, we're gonna come from Luke the 8th chapter. We're gonna talk about the woman that had the issue of blood, because that was something that was regulating in my spirit. It says on Luke 8 verse 43, it says, "And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. And Jesus said, Who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude thrown thee and pressed thee, and says thou, who touches thee? And Jesus said, Somebody had touched me, for perceive that virtue is gone out of me. And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she had healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith had made thee whole. Go in grace. And so I'm here to ask somebody, what is your issue? If you want to be healed tonight, you got to first come to the conclusion, what is your issue? A lot of times that we want God to do things for us, but yet we never found out what our issue was. A lot of times that we pray for God to change us and to do things, and I realize that sometimes God won't move the situation, he'll just change you in the situation. And so a lot of times that we always pray for things and we asking God for things, but the question that we never ask God, God, if is your will, let your will be done, is very seldom that we come up to that. And then I was looking at the woman, it says she had an issue for 12 long years. And I heard a man of God, he was saying, he said, they say she had an issue, but they never really say she was sick. That I'm one that I'm anemic, that means blood, that sometimes I run low in blood. And so they say she had an issue of blood for 12 long years, but they never really said what the issue was. But the thing about it was that, and the thing is, it said that she had an issue, but they never said that she was sick. And that's what I had loved what the man of God said, that they said she had an issue, but they never said that she was sick. And you got to realize that anytime that you're going through something, especially when you're going to the doctor, because remember what they said. They say she went to the physicians and she spent all her living. And so now they don't never give you the age of the woman. They never tell you what age range she was. They never said what the issue of the blood really was. They never said if this was something that was in her bloodline. They never gave what family she came from. They just identified her by her issue. And isn't that something? A lot of times that people will identify you by your issue. They won't identify you that God bless you. They won't identify that you have favor with God, but they will identify you when you have an issue. Isn't that something that people won't tell you about the good that you did, but they always want to remind you about the bad things that happened or who you used to be? Isn't that something that they said the woman had an issue of blood for 12 long years? Isn't that something they never called her name? They never said who she was. They never said what family she came by, because undoubtedly she was wealthy, because it said she spent all her living trying to find a cure for her situation. Can I tell you, sometimes you're in a situation that money cannot pay your way out of it? Can I tell you that sometimes you're in a situation, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on, can I tell you, money cannot get you out of these things? And a lot of times people think when you got money that you got it going on. A lot of people think when you got money or you got it kosher. No, because this is the hour. It doesn't matter if you have money, but do you have peace? It doesn't matter if you have money, but do you have joy? And so that's why the Bible says what it is to prosper a man to gain the whole world, but yet loses his soul. And so it said that she had an issue of blood for 12 long years. And it says, and she spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any. Now, mind you, I'm just walking through this, and it said healed, but they never said cured. I just need you to walk with me a little while, and we just gonna go through some stuff, because you see, certain words catch my attention. I don't know about y'all, but certain words catch my attention, and that's why when you read the text, you always got to realize what the word said, because they say healed, but yet they never say cured. You got to realize when God is trying to take you from one place to another, he'll use certain words to take you from one place to another. Just like if I say I changed, but I hadn't been transformed, it's two different things in those words. Why? Because when I change, I can always go back to where I once was. But when I'm transformed, I can't go back to where I once came from. Why you say that? I'm glad that you asked. I could change directions and go back. If I leave my house and I take certain routes to go to the store, when I come back, I'm going to just change the route, but I'm going to come back to the place that I started. But it's something about a butterfly. A butterfly starts off being a pupa, then it goes to the stages of being a caterpillar, and then it goes to the stages to where it has to go through a metamorphosis inside a cocoon, and then it becomes a butterfly. Do you not know it has to go through all those stages? Ain't no way in the world that the butterfly could jump a stage, because it would never manifest what it was supposed to be. And a lot of times when we have issues and when we going through something, we want to jump the phase that God got us in, not realizing that will cause us not to mature in a way that God needs us to mature, that will cause us not to learn the lesson inside the situation that God needs us to learn the lesson. And so now I'm reading this. It says that, guess what? It is to be healed. The physicians could not heal her, but yet they did not say they could not cure her. I was wondering about this, because it said it didn't matter how many physicians she went to, they could not heal her, because maybe, just maybe, they wasn't made to heal her. They was only made to cure her. Now hold on, walk with me for a little while, because now I had to go look up some stuff. And so this is the thing about it. So I had to go find out what is the difference between being cured and healed. Come on, y'all better come on, walk with me. It says for the physicians, he said, they say the curing requires the help from a physician. And so you got to realize the state that she was in, God wanted to put her in position to where she could not depend on a doctor to do it for her, because if the doctor would have got to the place where he would have healed her, and then the doctor would have got the credit for it. But God had to put her in a position to where she had to go surpass a doctor and go to a higher physician that did not go to school for a degree, that did not measure in gynecologist. He did not study the blood. You got to realize what God was doing. God will create a condition to bring you into position. I need somebody to understand. God had to create a condition to put her into a position to cause her to find out who he really was. You got to realize that when things happen, it don't happen just to happen. God will create a situation to cause you to get in a position so you can learn out, so you can learn who God really was. And they say in a place of being cured, it say you need help from a physician, because the goal is to return the body, the mind, and the spirit to its original state and to avoid change. You got to realize that curing may take less time. I need somebody to hear and come walk with me. It's something that this is the hour. I don't need to be cured, but I need to be healed. I need you to speak to somebody and let somebody know, now I understand my issue. Don't cause for me to be cured. I just need to be healed. And then it went on, and it starts saying, it says, that curing may take less time and may be less painful, although it's an end. It is a total removal of a problem. It said, but to heal means to repair or strengthen the body, mind, and spirit. Can I tell you, when I'm cured, that's fixing a problem. But when I'm healed, I need to repair some stuff. That means nothing can be fixed. It got to be repaired. You got to realize that sometimes God will allow us to go through some stuff to let us know if something inside of you that needs to be fixed. Undoubtedly, God was trying to get the woman that had the issue for 12 long years to get to a place. Now, this is the thing, y'all. Y'all need to walk with me. I don't know when she realized who Jesus was. I don't know when she heard about Jesus. I don't know what point of her life she was in, but undoubtedly it took her 12 years to realize who the king was. And you got to realize sometimes God will leave you in a situation until you come to the conclusion, I cannot do it without God. Do you not know that God will allow you to stay there until you get what you need to get out the situation? You praying that God changed him. You praying that God changed her. You praying that God move on your situation. And then you get upset when God is not answering. It's not that God is not there. God is just trying to prepare you to let you know that I need you to say the right words. I don't need you to be praying to get me out of this. I need you to be praying, God, teach me what I need to be taught inside this situation. You need to be praying, God, whatever it is that you got me going through, if you brought me to it, you're going to surely bring me through it. And of course, you're going to see me out of it. He said, this is the hour you need to change the way you pray. Because if I bring a situation to you, it's only for you to get to a place to know, now this is the hour I got to push. You got to realize, if she had money, how many of us know that when we have money, we have friends? How many of us know that, guess what, we can't get nobody to leave our house when we have money? Everybody want to borrow from you. When you have a party, when you're going out to eat, everybody want to splurge on you. Nobody ain't looking out for you. They just looking out for themselves. But how many of you know that God will cause you to come to a place to where now you don't have nothing to help nobody with, because now you're no longer their God, and now God is trying to show them that, guess what, I had to allow this so they could literally look at you as just being human, and now you're no longer their God. So you can imagine how the woman with the issue of blood was. She was wondering where everybody else was, because not one time they say that she had children. They never say that she had siblings. They never say that her mama or daddy was still living. But all I know is that she had to get to a place to push her way to Jesus. They never said nobody helped her. They never said nobody talked to her. They never said nobody encouraged her. They never said nobody took her to the doctor. Everything that was done on her own accordance. You got to realize that sometimes God will put you in a place by yourself to let you know you so dependent on people to where you don't even realize who I am to you. And so God will allow these things to happen to put you in a place to let you know, guess what? This is the time for you to call on the name of the Lord. You've been calling on Sue. You've been calling on Mary. You've been calling on John. You've been calling on Paul. And then you have the audacity to be upset when they don't answer your call. You have the audacity to tell them when nobody else was there for you, I was there for you. I'm not doing for nobody because when it's my time, nobody did for me. God said, how dare you do those things? He said, when I literally put you in a position so you could be able to be a blesser, when I put you in a position so that you won't have to borrow, but yet you could be the lender. He said, this is the hour you got to get to the place to know that was never about you. It was about what God had called you to do. This is the hour you got to get out your own way. This is the hour you got to get out your own head. This is the hour, baby. You got to realize that it never was about you. It was about the assignment and what God had placed on you to do. Hold up. Wait a minute, because when they talked about heal, it says that to heal, it means to heal means to repair or strengthen the body, mind, and spirit. You got to realize when they're talking about the cure is also to be without illness or to eliminate sickness that brings disease. You got to realize that she needed to be healed. She didn't need to be cured, because it said that when you're cured, it eliminates sickness and it brings disease. They never say she was sick. They say she had an issue. You got to realize, stop calling stuff that's not as though it was. We got to be careful with that. When we say we got to speak things that's not as though it was, we talk about that when we say the things of God. But how many of us know we'll call sickness on us when we're really not sick, when we got a headache? That's why this is the hour you got to change your linguistics. This is the hour you got to change your language, because you got to realize this is the hour that your tongue have power. And God said that the tongue is the smallest thing, but yet the most powerful thing. And that's why you got to literally watch what you say in this hour. This is the hour you got to know what your issue is. God want to know what's your issue. What got you in this place? God never asked you who did you what. He don't care. God never asked you how much money you have. He never asked you that. He don't care. God never asked you how you was feeling. He don't care. He needs to know what is your issue. And so when I can identify what my issue is, then I can start eliminating some stuff and stop worrying about if this gonna get done. Because if I believe God and I know that God is an all-knowing God and I know God is my Jireh, I know I don't have to worry about anything. But because I still lack doubt in some areas, that's why when situations come up, I have to always ask God, well, God, if it's your will, when we don't feel like God is moving fast enough. But how God is not going to move fast enough when he finished creating the heavens and the earth and everything concerning us is when he rested on the seventh day. He said everything that I created was already good. And when Jesus went to the cross, did he not finish it? He said it is finished. And so what you praying about and what it seems like God moving slow on, it's not that God is moving slow. It's your belief system that's moving slow, because what you already praying for is already inside the heavens. It's already inside the spiritual realm. That's why the Bible say now faith is evidence of things hoped for, but yet evidence of things that's not seen. Well, how can I have evidence if I cannot see it? Why? Because it's already inside the heavens. God already created it, but God needed to create a situation to bring you in a place so you can open up your mouth and call it to you. And that's why you got to get to the place to get everybody else out of your mind, to get the unforgiveness out of your heart, and get to the place and start calling things that's not as though it was. Why? Because you're not looking for a cure, you're looking to be healed. Hold up. What is the difference between cure and heal? We still on it. It say it's the time for the process that occurs, and it's the mindset it takes to be positive. Do you not know you're cured? I always say this, and I always used to tell people this. Do you not know physical scars are healed faster than mental scars? You got to realize before God could do anything to her, she had to literally sit down and take an evaluation of her life and what she was. Do you not feel like that she probably was sitting inside a chair one day and had her windows open and heard somebody talking about or hearing the people in the street saying they're going to see the man, the healer of Jesus, that he's finally in the proximity. And so now she got to the place, you know what? I'm a cast out. Nobody don't want me there. Everybody know my issue. Everybody know who I am. But this is the hour I'm going to get low so I could go and touch the hem of his garment. Sometimes God say we have to change our position. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes God will bring you down to your knees to change your position so you can change your trajectory of how you see a thing. This is the hour that God is calling us back to the house of prayer. God is calling us back to the altar. Do you not know she got down on her knees and she is almost like she had to lay on her face, but yet she touched something that was inside of Jesus? You got to realize that God will allow your issues to bring you to your knees. You are praying that God coming out of, that you come out of this, but God said, I had to create this because you didn't praise me like you used to. You didn't go in the word like you used to. You don't go to church like you used to. And so God will create a situation to bring you back to a place to get closer to him. This is the hour that God wants you to face your issue. This is the hour that God wants you to know that, guess what, if you got an issue, you need to start facing it. And so I would just assume, come on, y'all, walk with me, that she had a reality check one day, that she got to the place to realize, know what, I tried everything else, nothing else working. I call on my friends, nobody don't want to talk to me, nobody ain't come and visit me no more. And so now it seems like I'm pushed when my back is against the wall, and it seems like that I don't have no way out of this situation. And so know what, I'm going to take a chance on God. This is the hour that God want to know, will you take a chance? I don't know about nobody else, but I need to know. God want to know, will you take a chance? This is the hour that God created an issue to push her in position so she could take a chance. Do you not know? Just imagine if she would have went to the doctor and the doctor would have had a cure. She would have forgot all about God. She would have never even met the maker. She would never even came in contact with the word. Why? Because she felt like that the medicine is what healed her. And sometimes we got to get to the place to know that we're looking for God to come in one way, but he's coming in another way. You ever thought about that? Maybe, just maybe, she felt like that. Guess what? I went to all the top doctors, and it seemed like nobody still could not do nothing for me. Sometimes God will put you in a position that it don't seem like nobody words working for you. It don't seem like no prayers is working for you. It don't seem like nothing you're doing is working. But all God wants you to do is get down on your knees and press your way. Why? Because he said faith without works is dead. She could have stayed in her house and believed and had faith that she was going to be healed one day, but she had to do her part. Tell somebody it's time for me to do my part. She had to do her part. She had to get to the place to where she had to go in proximity of where Jesus was and got down and start moving. Why? Because she was looking for a healing. And do you not know, to be healed, it may require more than involvement and self-awareness of a person treated as to use their own resources to grow. That means she had to come to the realization to say, know what, I got to believe somebody or I'm going to fall for anything. If it don't work, then it don't work. But yet I'm going to still try and still I'm going to push my way because the Father said faith without works is dead. Meaning I'm going to have to do my part even though I don't feel like it. This is the hour hour, we can't just pray about it. We got to be about it. We got to push our way through. And so it was so ironic that Jesus said, something who touched me. And all his disciples was around him. They said, well, how can you say who touched me when everybody around you is flogging on you? When everybody around you just wants you to touch them? When everybody around you just wants you to lay hands and prophesy to them? Somebody just wants you to speak in their life. He said, no, because this one is different. Everybody want me to touch them because they want me to touch them. But somebody touched me out of a need. You got to realize that faith wasn't that high on a Richter scale until the woman of God touched him. And he said, who touched me? And she had to literally stand up. Can I tell you, after you touch the hem of his garment, God will cause you to stand up in the spirit. You came in one way, but you'll be leaving out another way. Can I tell somebody, God said by the time you finish saying your prayer, he have been and answer it. But you got to realize when it's God that's answering your prayers and when it's the enemy trying to make you believe. But this is the hour you got to realize she came in one way, but she left out the other. This is the hour once I go in God's presence one way, one thing about it, I'm about to leave out another way. You got to realize that Jesus wants to know who touched me, and she knows she had to own it up. This is the hour God want to know, will you own it? Will you own what you did? And a lot of times the reason why we can't get healed because we don't ever want to own what we did. We don't ever want to own that we was wrong. We don't ever want to own that we was in error. And we don't ever want to own what we did. But she had to own it. He said, know what? She said, I'm the one that touched you. And I guess she went on to tell her story. She said, I had to touch you because I went to all these physicians, but nobody couldn't do nothing for me. And so I heard that you was passing by. He said, I heard what you did for others. And I don't think that you have a respect of person. Y'all, I'm just paraphrasing. And she said, I thought I'd take a chance on you. This is the hour God want to know, will you take a chance? This is the hour that God want to know. You tried everything else, but will you take a chance? And you know what the Bible says? His response was, your faith is what healed you. Now check this out, y'all, because every time that you do something, you always want the credit for it. Not one time did Jesus say, oh, it's because you touched me, you healed. He never said, because you came in proximity to me, you was healed. You got to realize not one time that he took the glory. He said, it's your faith that made you whole. You got to realize she wasn't just healed. She wasn't just cured, but she was made whole. I told somebody, once you pray that God make you whole, it's God duty to see what it is in your area that you need to be fixed. That means when I pray for wholeness, that means God got to see what area I have holes in, and he got to make sure that he gonna take care of it. Why? Because he told me, he said, show me your love. He said, whatever you ask in my son's name, he said, it shall be given unto you. You got to realize, if you seek ye the kingdom in its righteousness, he said, everything else shall be added unto you. And so that day, she was seeking for his righteousness. She wasn't sure that it was going to work, but yet she still thought she'll take a chance. This is the hour you've been praying, but are you willing to take a chance? This is the hour you have faith, but what work are you doing to make sure it come to pass? Because this is the hour. God saying faith without works is dead. This is the hour you praying, but yet you're not doing your part. Tell somebody, I got to put my hands to the plow. I got to do my part, because just imagine if she would have just prayed and said, God, I want you to sit him here. God, I want him to come here because I can't go out there because they said I was evicted from the city and I can't be around those people. And what about if she would have made an excuse, because we always make an excuse why we're not going to do what God have literally told us to do. How many of us have excuses why we never reach the potential that God needs us to reach? Because we always have an excuse. What did they do you now? This is the hour not to have excuses. This is the hour you got to work it. This is the hour you want it to happen. Do your part. This is the hour she realized that guess what? If she make nobody else learn about it, and nobody else have my body, and nobody else need what I need. And so now I know I need to make my way through. And it doesn't matter who I have to go through. I just need to make my way through. This is the hour I don't have time to make excuses because I got an issue and I need to get to God. This is the hour you got to realize I have an issue and I need to get to the master. They didn't even want to say Jesus. They say master. And when they say master, because they know he had crafted something else. But it's something when Jesus said, he said, because my virtue had left. That means she had touched something that had never been touched. That means she had touched a pure side of him. When was the last time that you touched God in a pure way? That God, I don't come to you with no form or fashion. God, I'm not come to you asking you for anything. But I just want you to know I love you. And God, I don't need to tell you what I need because you're the all-knowing God. And so you already know what I need. But can I tell you that I'm seeking you today? I'm seeking you, the kingdom of heaven and your righteousness. God, show me your righteousness. God, show me the kingdom. God, I want to go deeper in you. So that way when I stand up, I'm going to stand up a different way than I went down. You got to realize that she never thought about who was there, who wasn't there. All I need to know is that I got an issue, and my issue gonna draw me to God. You got to realize her issue first drew her to the people that couldn't do nothing for her, that she thought was gonna be able to help her. But this is the hour that your issue will cause you to go back down memory lane. Your issue will cause you to talk to people that you don't normally talk to. Your issue will cause you to go revisit some places that God told you not to go back to. Your issue will cause you to have your ears open to people that you're not supposed to have your ears open to. But isn't that something when God will shut the door on those things and let you know they can't help you because this is the hour you got to do it yourself. Help somebody. This is the hour I got to do it myself. I can't have my friend help me. I can't have my mama, my daddy help me. A prophet can't do it for me. Not even a pastor. Because God created this situation so I could find out who he is. Now, mind you, it said that she touched it. Never said that she could have been met Jesus. But at a given time, at an appointed time, you need to tell somebody that this is my appointed time. This is my appointed time. You better talk to somebody tonight and tell them, know what? I've been waiting for this all my life. You remember On the Color Purple? You remember what Celie said? I waited. I had to fight all my life. And so now she had to fight for 12 long years. She had to get to the place for 12 long years. You can imagine what she had to go through in those 12 years. What lessons she had to learn out of those 12 years. But can I tell you, it took her 12 years to learn whatever she needed to learn because when she got the epiphany, when she realized that the light came on, when she realized everything else I tried, all I had to do was try Jesus. Tell somebody all I had to do was try Jesus because now I'm at my appointed time. Tell somebody it seemed like it took forever, but now I'm at my appointed time. God had to create an issue to get me back to into a place of position. You got to realize she never fell on her knees no other time but to touch the hem of his garment. And what I loved about her, she didn't have to worry about him prophesying to her. She never touched him so he could touch her. And this is the hour that God want to know, can you touch me without me touching you? This is the hour you got to realize she was breaking laws. She was breaking barriers to get to her healing. Because if you know anything about the biblical days, you could not lay hands on a priest. But can I tell you, she wanted it bad. And my question to you tonight, how bad you really want it? She was willing to go out of her way. She was willing to get stoned. She was willing to get cut on. She was willing to die. But she knows she had to get to the Father. She was willing to go low so she could come high. In order to get to the Father, she was willing to break rules and regulations. In order to get to the Father, you got to get to the place to where you ugly for God, and you don't care who looking at you, and you just bonkers and losing your mind. You just giving a God a shout out. You just giving God a praise, because you know after you give him a praise, that the door shall come open. You know after you give him a praise, that your cure shall be there. You know after you give him a praise, you shall be made whole. What I loved about her, she didn't go there loud. She didn't go there begging. She went in silence. Can I tell you something? Sometimes your silence speaks louder than your mouth. This is the hour. Sometimes you just can't say nothing. You got to move. Tell somebody she moved in silence. Can I help y'all? Tell somebody she moved in silence. You got to tell somebody she moved in silence. She didn't gather her old friends. She didn't gather nobody she had. She didn't tell nobody where she was going. She decided, I got to do this myself. She didn't ask nobody what they thought about it. She didn't ask nobody what they thought about it. She realized, I got to do this myself. That enemy always trying to freeze it up when we going somewhere. But guess what? You don't get no glory. She moved in silence. She didn't ask nobody. Tell somebody you got to move in silence. Come on. The enemy. But the enemy crazy. She moved in silence. I don't know if y'all can still hear me because I see it's frozen. Come on. The enemy, y'all, the enemy is trying to freeze us out. The enemy is trying to freeze us out, but we cancel that assignment. We cancel that assignment. Come on, we cancel. We coming against everything because guess what? This is the hour we got to move in silence. This is the hour we can't wait for nobody to do it for us. We got to do it for ourselves. And that's what God wants you to know. He said you have an issue, but this is your hour to move. This is the hour you got to move in silence. You can't ask nobody what they think about nothing. You got to move. Tell somebody I'm moving. I'm getting up out my comfort zone and I'm moving. They never said how long she been in the house. They never said how long that she been sitting in the chair. They never said, but she had a made up mind that today is the day. You got to have the made up mind. Today is the day. I don't know about y'all, but I have a made up mind. Come on. You got to have a made up mind. Come on. That enemy trying to freeze us again. The enemy trying to freeze us. But guess what? We got to have a made up mind. The enemy try to mess with us. But guess what? I have a made up mind. Come on. Come on. The devil is a liar. You got to know that the enemy is a liar. Every time that God is trying to move, the enemy will try to freeze me out. Hold up. I'm going to another page to finish this off, and then we're going to be finished.